What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another live stream. Here to answer all your questions about business, all that fun stuff. Trying to get my mic set up here. There we go. Hope everyone had an amazing weekend. Excited to hang out with some of you guys. If anyone wants to come on and ask some questions, I will drop the link down below. Looks like we're live everywhere, so that's good. And we're now live on Instagram. Okay, cool. Guys, I'm pretty excited because I got this new tripod right here. So when I'm live on Instagram, I have it like next to me like this. And this is like a super cool tripod for the phone. I love this thing. What's up, Tom? So this thing's really cool because it's really easy to just do that. This is really cheap, by the way, so I'm pretty pumped about it. So really cool. Very easy to just plop for the people of Insta. And then what's really cool is you can go like this. Ready? There we go. So then if you're like doing, I don't know, this type of stuff, makes it really easy. So I could also put it down like this. We could sit it here. This would not be a good view. Luckily, we're not. This isn't a bad view, but it's pretty cool. Just pop it down, put it back there. I also got a new tripod for the camera too, which I'm excited about. So when I shoot with my camera and I create content with my camera, there we go. Oh, that's so nice. That's so easy. When I create content with my camera, I don't know where it is. I think it's in the drawers over there. But I use like a Jobly, and I hate it because it's never like level, and I have to like screw around with it. So I got a different tripod for my camera that I like. So I'm pretty pumped about that. The fun things that have been going on in my life that I get excited about. Cool. So if you are just joining, just feel free to pop your questions in the comments and we will get to them. Hello to everyone that's joining on Instagram. Okay. So last week, it's been a lot of biz dev stuff. We're actually like really racking up the clients. So we have like a lot of what's called money at the end of the funnel in like the procurement stage, where we have people that we're like about to sign contracts with, that we're about to close deals with. So that's pretty exciting. We did it really quick with like very little effort, which has been really fun. So like we have probably anywhere from like $11,000 to $20,000 that we're about to close on. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun stuff. What we've been doing a lot of, which we've talked a lot about in a lot of these live streams, which is interesting because people always ask like, hey, how do you go about getting clients? Which these are like the best times, like doing these on the live stream is the easiest way to like, I guess, like talk through that with some people. It's just really like a lot of different approaches. And for us, it's a little different than I typically recommend to people, which like when I'm typically talking to people, I'll tell them like, hey, go and like be really niche with what you do, which in my case, I really should too. Like we were talking about this internally, like, should we just focus on like short form video? Be so much easier. But because we're producing so much content and like, I guess like that becomes like a portfolio, I don't think it's like totally necessary. I think we can go more broad with our like offering. But I think fulfillment's going to be a little frustrating. So we're figuring that out right now. So like you have the acquisition side, then you have the fulfillment side, and the acquisition side for us is like actually pretty straightforward and easy. We can easily scale up on fulfillment. On acquisition, but on fulfillment, then you have to actually do the work. We're going to have to hire a lot of people to do that and create some systems that we might not have at the moment. Cool stuff. Hey, to everyone that is joining on Instagram, waving to you all. If you're on Instagram, feel free to pop your questions. Also, feel free to join on any of the other streams. So that's what's been up. some fun things that we did off camera this past week. Deirdre and I, we drove for dollars. If anyone knows what that is. What's going on, Andrew? Andrew says hi. We drove for dollars, and we want to buy like an investment property. So I actually have the ecom house in Austin. It'd be really cool to get some more properties in Austin that I actually own versus re-rent. So we were driving for dollars. And what that is like finding deals off market where you will offer, let's say, a house that's like kind of a fixer upper. We kind of want to find something that's like, a good deal is a good deal. So we're looking at all different types of things and just driving around looking at kind of distressed properties. And then we have this really cool note that we made and we're just putting on people's doors. And we found like, how many properties did we find? There like 30? Found like 30 properties. So now we have to print everything out, go back and like put the note on the door, pretty much say that like we're looking to buy their house with cash. And then, hopefully we buy something for like $170, $200, $200,000 and then put like 50 to 100K into it and then sell it. But we're thinking of doing like a live and flip. Be pretty fun. But I'd really like to get some stuff. I'm unsure. I think it'd be really cool if I was back in Austin to get some more properties and kind of like grow the creator house and get more people that are like entrepreneurs living together and doing all that stuff. Because then instead of like a live and flip, it could be like something that we just re-rent and create like this network of houses and really cool people. So that's what we had going on the last week. That was fun. Deirdre says I can't drink water. I don't understand why she would say that, but so that's what we've been up to the last week. Again, a lot of boring biz dev stuff, a lot of like figuring out internal stuff. And then we're doing a whole rebrand of the website. So we are calling the company, which I think I've explained, Told Media, the content agency. So it's super like weird because it's going to be confusing for people probably for a bit, but the dev agency, we're going to rebrand, and then Told Media is going to be the content agency. So I'm pretty excited about all that. It's just been like a lot of work trying to figure out like the messaging and what we're going to put on the site. But we're almost done. I think we'll have it live within the next week. So I'll share it with you guys once it's done. I think the next video we're releasing this week, I kind of like explain our process for doing all of this. So you can kind of like see how we throw up the website really quickly and how we go about doing that. Andrew says, why Austin, not another city like Denver? So, I mean, Denver would be super cool. I would do it in other cities. 100% would. I think the reason I would like to stay in Austin right now is because I'd like to have a couple properties in Austin if I'm going to do something like this, which means like I have like a group of contractors that do all the fixing up and stuff. Versus if you have houses all over the place, you have to get contractors all over the place, and it's kind of a mess when you have to deal with all that stuff in different areas. It'd be better 6 locations in Austin and then go to another city and then go to another city and then go to another city. So Andrew, you should start one in Denver or hit me up. Maybe we can work together. I like Denver. I have a bunch of buddies that actually have like a mansion in Denver, or they did. Now they're in Miami. Denver's a cool city. I couldn't live there though. I'm not about the cold. East Coast life has been killing me. Not a fan of winter at all. I always say that the day my dad's NED, I'm out. No, I do not want to do a winter in the Northeast again. It's not fun. I just don't like having to like put on a coat, do all that stuff. Then like, if you want to like go to the gym, you're like it's like another barrier to go places because you're like, fuck, I just want to stay inside. It's so cold out. And then like it's really annoying in this apartment. Like our heating is like weird in here, and like my eyes are always burning because the heat's too high, and Deirdre's eyes are the same, and sleeping's been like really annoying because like the heat is just makes it so dry. Just like all these annoying issues. Someone says Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, I don't know about that. Jacksonville's cool. I like Jacksonville. I'm a big fan of Miami. So my two favorite places in the US are Austin, Texas, and Miami. I like Miami Beach. That's where I lived for like a couple months before COVID. I'm so ridiculous with the cold that like in Austin last year, I think it was in like December, it was like 40 degrees or 50 degrees one morning. And I was like, screw this. Why am I living here during the winter? Let's go to Miami. So me and Deirdre moved to Miami Beach. It was supposed to be for 3 months. COVID hit. So we only stayed for like 2 months. And then we moved back home with parents because of COVID. This is like the early days of COVID too. When like we weren't sure, like, oh, is this actually really bad? What should we do? So we just moved home. Deirdre yelled at me for drinking water, but I really haven't drank enough water today. So, cool, everyone. So if you guys have questions, pop them below. More people joining on Insta. I usually try to like think of like a topic for these that I try to stick to. So we've been doing a lot of like cold stuff, but I think what I want to start doing is bringing on more guests. So I want to start bringing on guests every week, I think, and just like interviewing them. And then if you, I don't know if you guys voted on the poll on Instagram, but we're starting something. I think we're going to start something. We might call it Side Hustle Sunday, which was the clear winner on Instagram. But we were between Side Hustle Sunday and what was the other name? Weekend Hustler. So we're going to start doing something where like a lot of our audience and the people that follow, and our best performing video is like the Craigslist flipping video. So like we create, now that like we're kind of going off script with the whole $1 million comeback thing, we can create a lot of content around that and help people that like can watch a video and then go do it. So I was like, why don't we do some cool like Side Hustle Sundays? Like every Sunday or every Saturday, like on the weekends, we go and like flip stuff. So people that are watching can go and they can go flip stuff, or they could do some other form of side hustle. So like it could be anything. One idea I have while me and Deirdre were driving for dollars to try to find an investment property was all these houses looked like shit. So it's really funny. If you haven't drove for dollars before, it's like weird trying to find a distressed property because some of them just like look like shit, but all they need is like a little bit of power washing. So I was like, you know what, we could like, that'd be a really good side hustle, is get a power washer and just go to door to door and power wash houses. I bet you I can make like 500 to $1,000 in a weekend just doing that. Okay. See, Tom asked, maybe a good question on the topic of your new equipment. How do you plan your budget for equipment versus marketing versus anything else? So for the projects, I really just get the equipment. I don't really plan too much the budget around equipment. Like if I think it's necessary, I just get it. The equipment that I have here that I just showed you guys is like pretty cheap. Like this, right here. Sorry, Instagram. That was like $10. Then the other tripod that I got is like, it was like 20, 30. So like pretty affordable stuff. If we're going more expensive, like say a camera or a lens or like a drone, which is on my list of things I want to get, I'll like go, okay, well, for me, it's not like a, in the sense of budgeting, it's not like, oh, you know, I wanted this much for marketing, this much for this. I'm like, how necessary would it be to get a drone to increase our production value? Would it be a really good investment right now? If the answer is yes, then I'll do it. And right now, I don't think the answer is yes, so I'm not going to do it. But in 3 months, there might be a good chance I get a drone and we start using like that type of footage for like B-roll. So it just has to make sense, and then I'll do it. I know that's not like a really good answer to the question. The other thing too is like a mic. This is like a $70 mic, which I really, really, really like this mic, but I've been looking at like a couple different mics that are higher quality. But like, it's just not necessary right now. I think once we grow the audience more and more and more, then I'll invest, you know, another like 5 to 10 grand into equipment. But it's just, I guess that, I don't know if that answers your question. I think we just need to grow the audience a little more, and then I'll probably invest in like higher quality audio. But it really doesn't make that much of a difference. And I kind of like keeping it scrappy and easy. Like I really like using this mic. And I kind of like making a statement of like, hey, like anyone can just use this $70 mic. You don't need anything expensive. So I do like keeping it easy and like cheap until it's necessary. But that's how I go about doing equipment. We spent a lot of money on equipment when we started. We easily spent 10 grand easy because we got this camera that we're filming on here. We got 2 of them. And then we got the lenses are so expensive. Cameras are fucking expensive. But this is an RP. This lens is like a 17 by 35 millimeter. So that whole thing was like 1,500. We got another one of these. I think the whole thing was like $1,000 or something like that, which was a really good deal. And then our server was really expensive. We have a server that we use, which has been a nightmare, but that was like probably $1,500 to $2,000. And then like all these like Ronin equipment and all this stuff probably spent like, I'd say probably around 5 to 10 grand pretty easily. Okay. So Matt asks, hey Mike, now that you've revealed the name of the coffee company, have you been leveraging your connections for business growth now, or are you still refraining from connections through the show? Okay. That's a great question, Matt. So, 2 answers to this part. So I guess the first is I have been leveraging my connections now, but I actually haven't because I really have stopped working on the coffee company and we're still figuring out what we want to do with it. So Deirdre has been like running it, but like we're really just like placing orders and just doing that. I haven't been spending any time trying to grow it because I've been spread way too thin, trying to get like the MDC consulting, which is going to be Told Media, off the ground. I have to do the accelerator for that, the new website, a lot of internal stuff, and then getting ready for the accounting practice and my dev agency. Through those 3 business on top of having the e-com house, I just have not had time for the coffee company. And as Deirdre figures out how she wants to move forward with that, I'll get her whatever mentor she needs and whatever type of capital she may need. People, like, we have to figure those things out before we start moving forward. But with that being said, yes, I will leverage anyone and everyone in my network to start growing that once we're kind of ready to do so. But there's like a lot of rebranding we want to do with it, and we probably need like a couple $1,000 invested to grow it a little bit and get some of that branding done. Hope that answers the question, Matt. What I've also been doing is I like want to start networking a lot with I want to start networking a lot with a lot of other accounting practice business owners so I can learn about the business. You should always do that when you start a new business. Talk to people that run the type of business that you're running, which I'm going to do with the marketing agency too. So that'll be really fun. I'm also starting a new podcast. It's going to be for Told Media. So it's going to be, I don't know the name of it yet. It's going to be some called like Creator Pod. So I'm going to interview a lot of creators on like how, like the technical of how they produce their content, because that's what we want to get really good at. And it's really interesting. I think I've mentioned it on here, but Told Media, again, not the dev agency, the content company, I want to run forever. Like, it's the only business I've ever started that I'm like, I want to do this forever. Like, I never want to stop doing it because I always want to create content and be really good at it. So when you look at things like that, it's interesting how your perspective changes on like those super long game of running the business compared to like a 5-year or 3-year. So that's been really, really interesting. How I've been kind of looking at that a little bit differently. But yeah, so we're going to be starting a creator pod, which will be really fun. And then I've been trying to figure out like the series of content that I'm going to be doing more with my dad for like the accounting stuff, which I'm really excited about. We haven't figured it out yet, but I'll definitely let you guys all know once we get started. Good question for you all is, what types of content are you most interested in seeing? By the way, Instagram, I'll get to your questions in a sec. What types of content are you most interested in seeing? So like, I've had a couple different ideas. Like one thing that really is going to be like cool is after July 10th, once like the MDC project has officially come to the 12-month conclusion, I really would love to take businesses that have gone under during the pandemic, like businesses, like think about like a restaurant owner or someone that got like totally screwed during the pandemic, and like put them through the $1 million comeback. So like it'll be like starting from wherever they're at, and the goal will be like to get them back on their feet in 12 months. Instead of me being like the person in the show, I'll just be like coaching and helping them like get their business off the ground. That's like what we wanted to do after this project. With the circumstances, I'm not leaving Philly, and I'm not going to do something like that with the current circumstances with my dad until he's in remission. But that's what I wanted to do after the whole project, is like help other people in this situation that have gone through that stuff. So that's something I'd love to do. But in terms of like content, I'm curious what you guys think. Like, how excited would you be to like see like the Side Hustle Sunday, where we go and I just like do different side hustles and teach you guys how to make money really quick, and like show you guys like case studies. So like maybe we'll do like I said, I'll like go in detail on the Craigslist flipping stuff, the Facebook Marketplace flipping stuff, but there's a lot of other side hustles like power washing. Just an example where like you could literally watch the video, go get a fucking power washer, and then go door to door and power wash people's houses and probably make like an extra $1,000 every weekend. I'm gonna like do all that fun stuff. Or would it be cooler to like come up with business ideas and then do them with someone, get them off the ground, and then like find someone to run it? I don't know. There's a lot of cool things that we could do, but I want to create that like weekend content. Okay, cool. So let me get to these Instagram questions, and then we have a couple on here that I'll get to in a sec. Okay. Okay. So someone asked on Insta, which accelerator did you just mention? Would love to know more. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. The accelerator. So I think you're talking about the Told Media Content Accelerator. If that's the case, then it's the accelerator we're putting together to show we're going to teach people how to create all the content that we're creating. So like TikTok, YouTube, which TikTok is short form. So like YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, all that stuff. Pretty much all the content we create, like how we do it, we're going in depth on everything. It's actually like going to be like in way more work than I thought putting all this together. So I finished the podcasting module on how to do a podcast. Live streaming will be in there, Snapchat, any types of stories, how to like actually schedule out and strategize your content plan, and then how to do batch content. So we're going to put that into an accelerator program. Hope that answers your question. Okay. So, so Matt asks, I'd love to hear how you guys are wrangling all your data, in quotes, footage for the show. We're using QNAP servers for our stuff. Do you know what you guys are using in syncing to the cloud? Yes, I know exactly what that is. Deirdre does all this. So I don't know what like QNAP servers are. What we use is Synology. I don't know what type of server. NAS. It's a NAS server. So we use Synology NAS server. It's over in that closet over there. It's been an absolute nightmare, but pretty much it wasn't a nightmare at first because we were all in Austin, I guess. And here's the process. So this is all the nitty gritty stuff. This is what we want to teach people. It's like all the nitty gritty crap that we have to learn. So the way things work now is we shoot all this footage, and then we take the footage and I upload it to the Synology server, which again is in that closet. Before, the team would just download right off the Synology server. It worked great. Because we're so far away, I guess they don't work well at long distances. The download speed is really shitty for them. So what we do is we do an auto sync to Dropbox, which we have Dropbox Unlimited. So we can put unlimited storage. So it's stored on this server. Then it syncs to Dropbox, and that's where everyone downloads off of. And then Dropbox is like our archive storage pretty much. So like if this server goes down, we have it in Dropbox. So the team, the editing team, every single week downloads it off Dropbox. One person does. Then the editing team meets up. They put it on a really fast SSD, which if you're watching, like it's really important that it's a really fast SSD because we have a lot of footage. So If it's slow, it will take really long. So the really fast SSD, and then the editing team, they each have an SSD, and they share the SSD with, or sorry, they like transfer one SSD to the other when they meet up, and then they both have the footage. And then one of our editors has a RAID. So like he stores a lot of stuff on his RAID. I think he has like 6 terabytes. So that's kind of our process. Chase says a QNAP is the same as Synology. So yeah, I guess it's the same thing. Again, the biggest problem we ran into is we think there's a big issue with us being far away from the team. But yeah, it's been a whole annoying thing to deal with. But yeah, so the last thing I'll say about like the storage. So every single month we back up our Synology to like an archive drive as well. So if the Synology ever fails, we have this archive drive. We have Dropbox. So like we're in good shape. So that's how we do it. Someone says my mom's literally in the food catering business. Yeah, that's a tough one. That industry got crushed. Hopefully it's picking up though. Hopefully your mom's been able to get through that, but it's been, I know, really tough. Andrew says I am first in line for that. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm just getting to this comment. Sorry. Moving to Denver. Denver's cool. Again, too cold for me, but Denver's cool. Okay, Chase says I want a case study on how much one MDC channel costs you. Yeah, it's very expensive to run the MDC project. Like I said, it's about $25,000 a month with like payroll and all that stuff. I would say like you don't need to obviously spend that much, but like it depends on, like, if you're trying to do all out content, you need a team. So like the way a content team works is you need, at the end of the day, you need someone at the top who's like a strategist that understands everything really well. They can also be like a project manager, or you can also have a project manager. Then you need someone that is good at, I guess, copy to write all the copy. So the strategist like says like, okay, here's the stuff we're gonna do. This is the content we're gonna create. So that'll be like me or Kirsten. And I know what types of content I want to put together. She knows some of that stuff. She'll put a lot of it together. And then you need someone that can do the copy. Then you need a designer to design stuff for all platforms. Then you need video editors. So like for YouTube, video editors. Then you need video editors for like your social. So the social videos versus TikTok. Now TikTok, you don't necessarily need video editors for. It's good to be, but you can have like a junior video editor for TikTok. And again, when I say TikTok, I mean short form video. And then you need potentially like an audio engineer. We have an audio engineer on our team that's overseas. He edits all of our podcast stuff. And that project manager kind of like runs everything. So I think that's everything. You also, an animation artist is good for some things. That person doesn't need to be full time because you don't always need those animation assets. But like the intro of MDC where that cool logo comes up and all that stuff, that's animation. That's much different than like what a video editor can do, because that's done in like Premiere. Or sorry, not Premiere. That's not done in Premiere. That's done in Adobe After Effects. And what's cool is like you can get like presets for that stuff. But then like there's like a design element to it. You have to have someone that's like a really good creative, which really is a lot of it's driven by me on like how I want things to look. So like the MDC logo, I did all that. Like I worked with the designer to figure all that out, but I gave him a lot of direction. Work with our motion graphics person to like do that intro pretty heavily. And then like if you guys watch our videos, anything that's like our early videos where we had all this like cool text popping up and like animations of like people and all that stuff, that's a motion graphics artist. And we had someone overseas doing that. We still do. We've had 2 different people. Unfortunately, Deirdre had to like really put the direction together with like Google Slides on like, this is what we want. But if you get someone good in the US, then you don't necessarily need to do that. Bro, that's more than $2 per view. Yeah, it's expensive. Now, here's the thing though, is a lot of this was like us like we have the team together. We know how to do this stuff now. And now we could, which we're going to be doing, going out and billing for it to cover the costs. For me, I want to be able to create content forever, for as long as possible, to help other entrepreneurs that are building their businesses, trying to figure out how to build their businesses. And I don't want to charge for it. So we need to figure out how to pay the bills. That's why we're going to do like consulting, accelerator, as well as like taking on clients. And my goal is just to be at break even. If we be at break even, then I pretty much can run a content team forever and keep creating content for people and not have to charge. So that's the goal. Saying hi to people that are joining here on Insta. Hitting the little wave hand. So hopefully that answers your question about the MDC channel and what that costs. Now, if you're trying to go and create your own content, it's significantly less if you're not running a YouTube channel. It's significantly less if you don't have a full-time like marketing strategist like Kirsten. Like we have a lot of people that are full-time. I mean, everyone is that isn't. Everyone in the US is full-time. So it gets expensive when you're doing that. If you had someone that was part-time, it's a lot more affordable. So that, like, if your whole game plan was like, I really want to grow using like Twitter and LinkedIn, you don't necessarily need someone. You just need to sit down every week or every 2 weeks and go, here's all the content that I'm going to create. You like kind of like go through all of it. Then you pass it off to a designer. Then you pass off whatever, if you record a podcast, to an audio engineer. If you're making like how-to YouTube videos, it's significantly easier than vlogging. The editing for vlogging takes a lot of like strategy and like figuring out storytelling and all that stuff. If you're just doing how-to videos and it's like you're sitting down here and going, hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a video on how to do lighting for shooting how-to videos. That type of stuff is really easy to edit. Well, I shouldn't say easy. It's just significantly less time than vlogging. If you're vlogging, again, it takes a lot more time and effort. So those are some things to consider if you're looking to put together a content team or create content. It's definitely not going to cost nearly as much as 25 grand unless you're trying to do fucking all this stuff. Okay, Sunny asks, I guess Instagram's really interested in the accelerator. Sunny asks, what's the plan for the accelerator? How would that be structured? Okay, so the plan behind the accelerator, for anyone that's watching and like interested in doing this, like if you're going to create something like an accelerator for your own business, you have to think about the business model behind it. So for us, we're like, okay, we can acquire customers, clients all day and charge anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 a month, right? That's great because it's recurring business. Now, the problem with it is with marketing, unless it's like productized, where it's like all we do is TikTok, we don't do anything else, and we just bang out TikToks all day. Unless it's that, there's like so much shit you have to do, and every client is different, and it becomes a total mess if you don't manage it and have really good operations. So if you do something more like accelerator and like consulting and training, then you create the accelerator, you constantly update it. And instead of selling, it's kind of like a value ladder, right? So, and I think I've talked about this in past live streams. If we sell like $2,000-$3,000 accelerator program, then every time I get on a call with a client, I say the same things over and over again. So I can just record some videos on like how to do that so they can watch the video, and then I don't have to charge the same amount. I can charge less, then go through the accelerator, then you have everything. And then when we take on a new client that's like doing strategy work, it's like, hey, watch these videos. So then I don't have to spend time like consulting them myself, so they don't have to spend as much money. They watch those videos, and then we do any type of like consulting or execution that's needed. So that's the reason for the accelerator. The plan for the accelerator is like, in the way it's structured, is like literally we're going to show everything on how we create content. Everything. Like again, podcasts, every single social platform, how to best grow on every single platform. There's a lot of things we don't do internally, like on Instagram, for example. The best way to grow on Instagram is creating a bunch of reels, creating shareable content, and commenting on other people's posts. I'm not going to sit there and comment on other people's posts. I purposefully haven't been like making shareable content because that's like not exactly the types of content I want to put out, but we might start doing a little bit more of that. So it's all a strategy when it comes to like figuring that type of stuff out. Okay, I just a question that disappeared on me here. Cool. Let's see. Okay, I think I got to everyone's questions. So pretty excited about all that stuff. But it is taking about a ton of time compared to what I thought it was going to take to like put the accelerator stuff together. But it'll be really fun once it's finished, because then once it's finished, then I probably just have to make like a couple of videos every week or every 2 weeks to update for like the changes for the platforms. And that's the thing about social media, is always changes. Every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, there's something new or something different that are like really small but potentially make a big difference. So like with Instagram, there's a lot of features that people probably don't even know about. There's one, I forget what it's actually called. We don't use it, but it's like creating guides on Instagram. You can create a guide on Instagram. It's so random. I don't know. Like, they didn't really push it much, so I don't know how well it does for people. But you can go and create a guide on Instagram. Go to like NBA's Instagram. You'll see they have like a guide. It's weird. I don't know why they tried to do that. I don't know like what the thought process was behind creating a guide. But I hope that answered your question. What's up, Sam? Sam joined on on Instagram. He's works in the dev team at Told. Man, I'm kind of tired today. Mondays, I'm always like tired. Mondays are crazy because Mondays is like all MDC stuff. So I do a lot of content on Mondays, and I'm gonna start posting again on TikTok. Just with the move and everything going on, I really stopped posting on TikTok, which is gonna hurt really bad. Like it's probably gonna take like at least 1 to 2 weeks of putting out like 1 to 2 posts a day to get back to normal, wherever normal was before in terms of viewership. When you just stop posting on any platform, they like really hit you pretty hard for that. Chase said that Instagram was trying to copy someone else's guide feature. It was definitely were. That's how Instagram does it. Chase also says I need more Bark and Bailey. I got a little bit right here. We got a little bit. I'm almost done. I only drink a cup a day. There's some people that just like crush coffee. It's pretty nuts. 1.5 at most. So yeah, we're looking at fixer uppers right now. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun I've always wanted to start investing in real estate. Right now is not a good time to go and buy a house. That's why we're trying to get an off-market deal. Because it's so overpriced right now. It's pretty crazy. All the people fled New York and Philly and they moved to the suburbs. So like the suburbs is just it's insane. Deirdre and I were looking at houses, and there was a house that this every place we've looked at that was posted not even for 24 hours. It already had 5 offers on it, like $30,000-$40,000 above asking price. It's just so nuts. So if you go buy something right now, you're not going to get a good deal. But if you can get something off market, different story. You just got to put that hustle in to do that. Matt asks, have you taken any inspiration from Garyvee's content team? They seem to have an awesome engine pumping out content, expensive but worth watching. Yeah, Garyvee is like the king of creating content. Like he has like, I don't think people realize it, but they have like 800 to 900 employees, and they work with the biggest companies. So they have a really, really, really big, really solid team. So yeah, like everyone, I feel like that creates content looks at Garyvee for inspiration when it comes to that. I'm a big fan of him. The one thing though that I really hate, there's actually 2, is the whole document don't create. is the most bullshit fucking thing. It is such bullshit. I'm not a big fan of that because it's like even like the things that he does are creating. Like he has a show, a series, and that's how I look at everything. By the way, is like if you're doing certain things repetitively on Instagram or YouTube, etc., I just call it a series. He has a series called Underrated, Overrated. And he created that for a reason. He knew that it would do well. He tested it. It did do well. So he's consistently doing it. That's creating. That's not documenting. That's going, here's an idea to get viewership. Let's create this. That is creating, not documenting. So it's weird to me that someone would tell everyone document, don't create, and then they create. Now, the other thing to note is when you do document, it's creating. So, which leads me to the second thing I don't like is like a lot of people think they need like a D-Rock, a video guy to just shoot. And that's not the case at all. I would say like it's good to have a really good video person. There's a lot of value in that. But really a big portion of it's on the editing side and the storytelling side and the creating side. So if you go look at someone like Casey Neistat's a really good example. I like using Casey Neistat, and I don't like using him as an example. And here's why. I don't like using him as an example because he's an incredible videographer and editor and storyteller. So if you look at his stuff, that's like the pinnacle of like amazing. If you look at people like Peter McKinnon, same thing. The pinnacle of just incredible when it comes to doing that because they are video people and they're editors and they're visual storytellers. But go look at people that run vlogs that do the same thing as Casey Neistat. And there's a few that I've recently come across, and they're not necessarily these crazy video people. They're not like, that's not their forte, but they're really good at it. And that's a way to tell story, but you're creating, you're not necessarily documenting, because what you have to do when you're doing that type of style is you have to put the camera down in front of you with everything you do throughout your entire day. And you have to think about, okay, this vlog, how do I want to story tell? And you'll pick a topic like, I don't know, like trying to find a girlfriend. And that topic, you'll literally like, you won't say anything like in the beginning of the video. It always starts out with B-roll or like you just going about your day. Like it could be like literally me like making breakfast and I won't say anything. And then all of a sudden I'll go up to the camera and I'll walk up to him and be like, what's going on? Welcome to a blah, blah, blah. And I'll talk about like how to find a girlfriend. I'll talk about like my issues of how much I've struggled finding a girlfriend. And then you're constantly changing the camera angles of your camera. So you're like making it very engaging. And then you're changing scenes. So then you'll literally, you have to have something going on where like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to go to this person's house or I'm going to do this. So then you have to document, like by putting the camera in front of you and doing all this stuff, document you going to that person. So it tells the story you just traveled somewhere. And then when you get there, you have to set the camera up and then walk into the room. And then you'll finish the thought process that you were originally explaining. So then it'll be like if you started off with like, I've always had issues with finding girls, like for this reason, but like I'm going to try out a couple different things. And then you'll literally stop talking about the topic and something will be happening. And this is literally, they do this on purpose. And they'll be going about their day, like in that scene. Then they'll go to the next scene, which again, let's just say it's at my parents' house. I go to my parents' house and then I'll be like, what's up, Dad? I'll talk to him for a little bit and be like, okay, so I am planning on using these 3 apps. And so you have to think, okay, this is the first thing I'm going to say in this scene. This is the next thing I'm going to say in this scene. So it's like, I'm going to try using these 3 apps. Like I've never used them before. And I'll just maybe talk about Tinder and like say some funny things about it. And then something else will be happening. And I'll start doing that thing and stop paying attention to what I was just talking about. And then there'll be like a couple scenes like that throughout the day. Camera's constantly moving. And then eventually you have some form of resolution at the end. That's how you create those types of videos. Now, again, that's not documenting really. It kind of is, but it's also really creating because you have to think about how you're going to do that. You have to create B-roll. You have to do all this stuff. It's not documenting. Whereas if you just have like a video guy follow you around, then I guess it's documenting. But honestly, like there's a lot of value in having a good video person, but you can give someone a camera and just have them like follow you around, put it on auto and leave it to your editing team, as long as you have a good strategy with like, okay, these are the types of things I want to shoot. There's a lot more than they make it seem. And it makes me angry because it's very deceiving to people. And if you want to get into content creation, my biggest piece of advice is you don't need a content team at all. The only thing that you might need is an editor. You can create those Casey Neistat types videos if it's just gonna be yourself. And you just have to learn how to do it. Just watch those types of videos and pay very close attention to everything that's happening and why. If you do have a video person though, and you can get someone to like hold a camera, that adds more that you can do with your videos, but it also, like, you can't just have a camera guy follow you around. That, like, do you know how boring that would be if someone just follows you around with a camera mindlessly and just shoots? Like, really think about how boring that would be. You have to like figure out how you're going to tell the story. So it's really that whole topic's very interesting to me. And again, it's very deceiving. I don't like. I also don't really understand. Again, I'm a huge Garyvee fan, but I don't understand why he doesn't put out more on this topic and like share with people and actually help people that want to be creators. Because a lot of people just kind of go about going like, I need a D-Rock. And again, you need to learn how to story tell. You don't need a D-Rock. Okay, so Liam just asked a question. I'll get that in a second. Chase says the best way to get a good deal on a property is to rent it first, destroy the inside, forfeit your security deposit, swoop in when the lease is over. That's hilarious. I don't know if I'd feel too great about that, so I'm gonna pass on that one, Chase. But let me know. Let me know if you ever give that one a try. All right, Liam asks, is there a specific kind of information they should study up? Like, should they learn economics, finance, and accounting? Where do you learn all the things you know about business? Thank you. Okay, so first off, Liam, I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to when you say, is there like a kind of information they should study up? I don't know who they is. So I'm going to make some assumptions unless you want to clarify in the chat. So if you're running a business, I think it's really, really, really important that you get good with numbers, like that you would just understand basic algebra and like basic like accounting and finance principles. You don't have to go super deep on this. Like there's a guy that I really dislike named Robert Kiyosaki that makes it seem like financial literacy to like the 10th degree is really important. And it's good to be financially literate. But it's not like something that's like crazy hard to learn. What is important is to learn how to read income statements, financial statements, which is an income statement and a balance sheet. I don't even know that you really have to learn too much about like a statement of cash flows. I think the income statement and balance sheet is good enough. So, Liam, the best way, a really good way to start like learning these types of things and like learning how to read income statements and balance sheets. I did a lot of this in college, is just like looking at stocks and looking at their income statements and balance sheets. So like you go to Yahoo Finance and you click on the companies you want to look at and look at their income statements, look at their balance sheets. It's important to understand those things. I think like, and then the better you understand your numbers and like start learning like a little bit of basic financial modeling is, I think, really important. And that's what I think separates me from where I was like 8 years ago versus now. Like I can, because I have more business acumen than I did 8 years ago, I can like run through an idea in my head. Like I used to have ideas all the time. I still do. But the percentage of ideas that make it to fruition where I'm like, this is a good thing to actually potentially pursue is significantly less. And I think part of that is the business acumen and the understanding of what things cost compared to what they were when I was like early in my game. And I remember like being like really clueless. I did a lot of like business plan competitions and stuff where you have to put together a financial model and do all this shit. And I was like, fuck, how much does a person actually cost? Like, okay, I need a marketing person. How much does that person cost? I need to hire this type of person. How much is this? And I didn't know. I had no idea, no clue. Now I know those things. I have a good understanding. I mean, there's things though you can go look up, like pay scale, for example. But then even if you go look it up on pay scale and you see, okay, if I need a marketing director, well, first off, you might not know who you need to hire. And then you don't know how much the person costs, but you can use some like pay scale. So once you know who you need to hire, then you can look it up and say, okay, this is how much they cost. But then you also need to know like little things that you just don't know until you do it. Like, oh, if I pay someone $80,000 a year, I should just factor in 1.3x for payroll expenses, benefits, all that stuff. So those are some things you have to like. You just pick up over time. You start learning over time. But if you talk to people that like run businesses and like ask them questions, they'll share that type of stuff with you. So in terms of like things you should study up on, when it comes to like the finance accounting stuff that you mentioned, or if you're just asking in general, I think like there's a mix of like you have to do stuff to like learn it. I think it's good to know numbers really well and start understanding these things and becoming a little bit financially literate. But I think the best thing you can do is talk to other business owners and like ask the right questions and be very like there's a lot of mistakes that I made when I was first starting my first couple companies that I could have totally avoided if I had just talked to and like reach out to like 20 people that did similar things. And I say 20 because not all 20 are gonna respond, maybe a couple do, but it would have been really helpful to like get on calls with them and just ask them like, hey, I'm trying to do this. What do you think about this? How should I approach this? How would you approach this? And then over time, instead of just assuming, you get other people's ideas and opinions that have already done it and have more experience. And then you take your margin of error that could be like that if you do it yourself is like 100%, you're gonna make 100% of the mistakes you would make. And maybe you reduce that by 2x and you only make 50%, or maybe even 3x and only make 30% of those mistakes. And then you save time and money, which is the goal. So I think those are the biggest things, and like learning how to validate things very quickly. And then as you actually like grow a business, it's important to build leadership skills, to build certain like sales and marketing skills. So you actually can go, okay, I have an idea for this, and you can execute on it. You can go start getting customers. You can go start hiring people. You can go and figure out, okay, I can like validate this with $2,000. I don't need $100,000. So I hope that answers your question, Liam. All right, so we got 7 minutes. If you guys have more questions, drop it below. You know what I'm going to start doing? I forgot to do this at the beginning. I'm going to start asking people to share the live stream. That's how like you grow the live stream. I've been like doing a lot of research the last week on some content stuff, and I need to start asking people to share the live stream. Don't do it now, but next live stream in the beginning, I'm going to tell everyone to share it. I'm going to tell everyone to hit the like button, share the live stream. Cool. What other questions do you guys have for me today? I think I got to be more like topic driven with these. This is the first time I think that I started a live stream and just was like, hit the button, didn't have any plan whatsoever. So like, okay, I can just talk. I can just talk to people, but I do want to like start like focusing on different topics for you guys and bringing on like really cool guests that have different insights. So I'm excited for the different live streams we're going to start doing, especially with some really cool guests we're going to have in the future. But I just had to do a lot of outbound to line up those guests. And then a lot of these people I think I'm going to bring on are like people that I want to ask questions to, like things that I really personally want to learn. So like, for example, like I might bring on like someone that runs an accounting practice and just talk to them about how they built it. Maybe like 20 to 50 employee range, maybe 100 range. But there's a lot of people that I have on a list of like interesting people I just want to talk to. So I'll probably start bringing those people on the show, and like we'll do like I'll interview them, but we'll also have questions that we'll answer for people. All right, 5 minutes, guys. If you have any last questions, drop them below. We'll get to your last questions, and then we'll wrap up here and get back to it. Chase, you're still on my list of people to bring on. I'm bringing on Heckman. Actually, I was supposed to bring on Heckman today. He had a little bit of a rough weekend, so Heckman did not was not able to join today. It was kind of like a, hey, if you want to join, let me know type situation. versus like a planned guest. But it was kind of planned. It was like, hey, just let me know. What's up, Flug? Speaking of ecom degenerates, I think he popped off. All right. Let's see, what do we got planned for the rest of today? Oh man, I have a lot of messages that I have to get to here. Let me pop some of these up. Okay, it's one person. Cool. Oh, by the way, guys, that the driving for dollars things, like our plan for that is like we drive around and we look at distressed properties, we write them down. There's an app though, or in software we're about to use. We write it down and we're gonna like post this like note on their door for them to call. And then once we have a list of all the places we drove by, then we like look it up, or Deirdre does on Zillow, and like then we figure out how much we would offer for them with cash, and then they'll hopefully call us, which is on the note to call. We have like a picture of Deirdre and I, and it just like has this whole thing. And then like we'll like do the research to go, okay, this house is this house will offer this, and like we'll have a max. And one of the houses that we like drove by that was on our list when she was looking it up already has a pending offer, but it's had a couple pending offers and it's been pending for like 2 to 3 months. We're like, oh shit, we're not bad at this. So we were able to find like a weird like distressed property. My hopes are that because there's been like a couple pending offers that fell through, I don't know if like the that could be an indicator that the I don't know what's it called. I forget when they like assess the place. I forget what it's called. Whenever they assess the property and they say, here's the value, appraisal. I don't know if they're going through the appraisal process and it's coming like way lower than the offer or something every time they do it or what, but there's been like 3 or 4 pending sales that fell through. So we'll have to figure that out. Okay, we have a couple questions that we'll wrap up with here. So someone says, would you let Deirdre be able to be interviewed? You mentioned her a lot. We actually did have Deirdre on once before. I don't think we'll do that. Well, it was just her. I don't think we've both done it before, so maybe we'll do that pretty soon. We'll have to see if she wants to come on. Let me see. Okay. Matt said appraisal. Thanks for correcting me there. But yeah, appraisal. Okay. Liam says, I looked up the Craigslist couches in my area and got intimidated when all the couches seemed ugly. So you've made money doing this. Don't have to pick up a truck, but did watch your explanation thoroughly. Okay, Liam, super cool. So if anyone's going to flip couches, which again, I'm going to make a lot of content on this stuff and moving forward, but do not get ugly couches. Don't get things that are like in bad shape or have any rips or any issues. Those things will not sell. You have to find the diamonds in the rough when you're flipping couches. We have a couch in our living room, 2-piece, and we got it for free, and we could sell it for $400 to $500. So you just have to like constantly be on your phone, and when the deal comes, you have to be the first one to reach out. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when I first started doing this, I just want to clarify, Liam, and anyone that's watching that wants to flip stuff, there's 2 approaches. Approach 1 is to connect a buyer and a seller and be a middleman and take 50%. So you find a free couch, you hit them up, be like, yo, I can sell this couch within the next hour and actually get you money for it. Are you cool with that? They'll thumbs up it, then you post it. They were on Craigslist, you post it on Facebook, you find someone, and then you pretty much connect the 2 and you sell it for $100 and you make $50. That's what I was doing originally. The other thing you could do, and that's great if you don't have a car, that's great if like you want to do something really fast. The other thing you could do is just go rent a fucking truck or find someone with a truck. So you go to U-Haul, rent the truck. You do need someone probably to help you move it, most likely. So you might need another person. So there's a cost to that, but it's great if you can find someone that has a truck and you just pay them. So I was using something called, you use TaskRabbit. Find people on TaskRabbit, or you can use, I can't remember what it's called. There's different apps where people have trucks. Austin, if you're in Austin, there's like a I forget the group name, but there's a place where you can find Runner City, Austin Runner City in Austin. So that's what I was doing. So that is how we were finding. That's how I was finding people to move stuff, and I got a lot of people to move different shit. So it was pretty cool. But it was pretty crazy looking back. I made $300 in profit, not revenue, profit with a capital P, the first 3 days of the project. Like literally homeless, literally nothing but one pair of clothes that I was wearing for the first 3 days, which was disgusting, and a cell phone. I was able to make $300 in profit. So it's very real doing that like broker model, Liam. But yeah, I'm gonna create more content around that for the people that want to flip and just like side hustle your way to cash, which is important to do that, to have cash to go invest in a business. I'm not a big, what's funny? I'm not a big fan of side hustles myself. Like my side hustle would be like, okay, let me get some clients and bring in some revenue. I've never been like a big fan of like flipping stuff and doing all that, but like I can do it. So I know a lot of people want to learn that stuff, so I'm going to do more content on it. Okay, last thing. Matt says, Mike, I'd love to come on the, I guess, live stream and talk content. Let's do it, Matt. Let's do it. Next Monday. Just I usually drop the link. It's usually like in the beginning. So I don't know if I can like pin. I wonder if I can pin comments on here. I don't know. I don't know if I can. All right, cool stuff, guys. It is after the hour. If there's any more questions, hit me up on Instagram, and I will make sure to answer them. That is it for this week's live stream. Again, if you have additional questions, feel free to hit me up, and go crush it, guys. Go crush it this week. Got the whole week ahead, and I'll see you guys in next week's live stream. Peace.